over 160 miles an hour. And that's category 5. Over 157 miles per hour is category 5. But we're talking about human beings, bare skin, bare backside, a human who's being, secured to a, what do they call it? A trestle, a wooden trestle. And they're helpless. And no matter what their pain tolerance, no matter what they just got to take it. And if you're sentenced to 24 strokes, well, one stroke is going to cause such extreme agony, remembering that the skin disintegrates across, so there's a white line appears across your backside, and then comes the blood. Because it's just so hard. It's so intense. It's category 5. So Yi Ming Yuan was convicted for drug trafficking. He's DJ Ming. Nightclub culture. He's from London. He's from England. Illicit drugs do tend to go. They have gone hand in hand with Western nightclub culture for quite a while. The West is now cracking down on drugs, with a zero tolerance approach as well. In the United States and Australia, you can go to jail in the United States for a decade or more for the same offence. And Yi Ming Yuan could have been jailed in England for something else he did. So he's a naughty boy. He was a naughty boy in England and a naughty boy in Singapore. And unfortunately for him, he got busted in Singapore. And 24 strokes of the cane is serious punishment. Especially when you're standing there watching the person in front of you being caned, knowing that you're next, and knowing that after your caning, you've got 20 years in jail. Now they talk about punishment. What is it? Retributive justice. Retributive justice. It's like retributive justice. So revenge, in other words. Revenge for so the crime they committed, the victims of the crime are taking revenge on the perpetrator. I think that's retributive justice. That's the concept, right? Yi Ming Yuan was a drug addict. And he was buying drugs off our local supplier and selling the drugs to his friends at work. He's a DJ, and he was using drugs himself. Marijuana and ice. I don't like drugs. I don't like ice anyway. But I don't have an issue with some illicit drugs. I know for a fact that ecstasy can help with post-traumatic stress disorder. I know that. Taking ecstasy can help with post-traumatic stress disorder enormously. Apparently LSD can help with depression, including in people who have terminal illness. And Yi Ming Yuan probably wishes a lot of things. I don't know. It's like regret, too late. My life is ruined. Everyone does stupid things sometimes, but it seems that some people, the price they pay is way out of proportion to other people. And when I say way out of proportion, well, most people don't get caned, for starters, at all. They don't even get paddled if they do things that are substantially worse. There's no corporal punishment at all. This guy gets 24 strokes of the category 5 cane, which means extreme pain, agony. Someone said if there's a word for it, a word for pain that's worse than excruciating, that's it. And I don't know how many strokes he got. But Yi Ming Yuan was sentenced to 24, the maximum. Nathan Breeze was born on the 24th of November. he lost his skin. Firestorm. That's how Nathan left this world, in a firestorm. Jake left after being shot, molested by a closeted man, secretive predator, and shot. So he died from a shot from a gun, and he knew he was about to die because the first shot didn't work. The gun didn't go off the first time. Otherwise, Jake would have been oblivious because he was facing the other way. Fate can be very cruel. We know this. Hurricane Michael, I saw someone screaming at the sky after Hurricane Michael. Like, just absolutely devastated because their house was gone. There was nothing left. And this person was screaming at the sky, "What did we do to you?" A lady. And I felt my heart wrench. It was like, my gut wrench. It was like, that's terrible. Just because you're seeing the reaction of the person, and that's just losing the house. It's not just, is it? It's not just a small thing, losing your house and all your possessions. It's a huge thing. But what's worse than that? Well, Nathan and his family, his sisters and his mum, they fled from their house. They fled because after being told they should be safe at home, they went back home. They tried to evacuate, they couldn't get off the mountain. So they went back home. It's like their initial reaction was panic, evacuate. They tried to evacuate. The authorities had put up road closed signs across the road, so they turned around and came back. And then they just followed the advice, and they died. And sometimes things just don't work out. Like, usually if you tell someone, listen, probably the safest place is at home, in your house, well, 99.99% of the time that would be the right advice and that would pay off. But that was just the one case where they were in the very wrong place. And what is usually the right advice turned into a death sentence for all of them. 9 people died there in that one house. They lived at number 7, they died at number 9. Next door, the house next door had sprinklers on the roof. They thought, oh, well, that'll be better. Made no difference. It was a firestorm with frightening ferocity. I guess you'd say, well, they don't rate firestorms. Few bushfires even make it to be a firestorm. Very few. The Canberra firestorm is one of those rare events. That was on the 18th of January. 18th of January, 2003. 3 6s at 18. That was Saturday. So the Canberra firestorm was on a Saturday, 2003, and then 6 years later, in February 2009, Black Saturday was the 7th of February. So that's when Nathan left this world, along with 173 other people. 173 people died in those firestorms. Nathan lived at King Lake West. Crystal, his older sister, Tegan, his little sister, and his mum, they all died. They all died together. Jake died alone with a stranger, a man who had kidnapped him. 6'6", twin, Octave. Oh yeah, I was going to say, Octave. 8 is Jake's life path number. But there was another riddle. Another child, this time it was a girl, told me a riddle last year. And it was really strange because she said, it didn't begin with her telling me a riddle. It began with her telling me, oh, you know, I had my photo in the newspaper once. And this girl is like 8 years old and the same age that Matthew was when he told me his riddle. And this girl's riddle was, you know, once I was like in the newspaper, my photo, and I said, oh, how come? And she said, I got an award for bravery. And I said, oh, really? And she says, yes. And she went on to tell me that the reasons for it, and it was because she'd given evidence in court against someone who had done something. And she was a child, so she got some kind of an award for doing that. The guy went to jail. And then she told me the riddle. And the riddle was, it's very interesting. Octave equals 66. That's the number plate of the car in front of us. 66. Twin is 66. And I've got an idiot cutting me off on the inside. It's interesting because octave 66, twin 66. She said what'd she say? Turn me on my side, I am everything. So it's almost the opposite of Matthew's riddle. Turn me on my side, I am everything. Cut me in half, I am nothing. And I'd never heard it. So I was like, she says, you probably won't get it unless you know it. And I said, oh, give me a bit of time. I'll think about it. 2 weeks later, she said, did you figure it out? And I said, no, I can't figure it out. I've thought about it. It's driving me insane. And I said, I didn't Google it. I resisted the temptation. And I said, I don't know. I give up. What is it? And she said, 8. And I just stared at her going, of course it is. 8. Lay me on my side, I am everything. Cut me in half, I am nothing. What was Matthew's riddle? I'm half demon, half nothing. Matthew, huge, incredible hurricane. The blob. Matthew had a blob with him. A companion, a twin, you might say. Everyone was commenting on that. Like a clump of cloud that travelled with him. Like a secondary cyclone. And then he made the face over Haiti. The spooky, scary face of Matthew as he made landfall on Haiti. A skull. And it was like, I thought of Matthew and I said, oh my God, this is so freaky. And it was like, amazing. It was amazing. It was astounding. And I was like, sort of awestruck. I got kicked off Facebook soon after that because I started posting stuff to test the boundaries of their stupid, pathetic, shallow community standards, which I can't stand. It's like, so I got off Facebook and I got kicked off Facebook. And you know, I know how you keep children safe. You keep children safe by being honest, encouraging honesty about sexuality, so you don't have closeted predators going around kidnapping, abusing kids. That's how you keep people safe. Not with all these rules and restrictions, and a rule-based society is just pathetic, and it lets kids down. It's like so many rules now. Adults are barely game to speak to people under the age of 18 because you might be mistaken for. Yeah, it's crazy. It's ridiculous. It's got to a point of so stupid. No lessons have been learned. It's just shallow rubbish. Rules, rules, and more rules until there's so many rules they can cane you for anything in Singapore. And it's not even the kind of caning that anyone could enjoy. It's violence. Extreme, brutal, sadistic violence. That's what it is. Nothing consensual about it. Nothing remotely, what would you say? Nothing remotely okay about it. It's just disgusting. Horrible. And it's funny how these people, I don't know, it's funny how these people justify it and they call themselves good people. Whether they're Christian or Buddhist or Muslim or atheist, it makes no difference. Abusers are abusers, and they're disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. They don't respect free will. They are horrible people. And I think some things are going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not psychic. No one's psychic. 67 is Pharaoh. Samuel is 71. Samuel's the twin in Red Rain. Goodbye. Yeah, some things are going to happen because things are happening in this world that are just, it just goes on. It just rolls on, doesn't it? The injustice and the justifications of abusers. It literally is like a priest catching an altar boy doing something naughty and then saying, well, now I'm going to abuse you because I caught you doing the wrong thing, so now you need to be punished. It's literally like that. If you're a man, you're free game for governments to become abusers. That's how it seems, including Western governments. Manus Island, Nauru, USA. Men locked up in cages like animals. I can probably show you the date and time. There's a meeting on the 7th of August. Moderation Day, 8th of August. So I'm in Tuggeranong. The good thing about this sign is it shows you the date and time. There you go. 3rd of August 2019, 11:08. 6 degrees. Well, that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. 6 degrees. It's September 6th. I'm kind of interested in September 6th. Not just this year, but next year as well. And I now know what the G name is. G, I wonder who the mirror boy is. G, Gabriel. Archangel Michael, Archangel Gabriel. I kept saying yesterday while making some videos, I kept saying Red Rain is a song by Peter Gabriel. It is actually. And I wrote Red Rain equals 69. And then after I wrote Red Rain is 69, I went to the library and it was Halloween 2015. I went to the library and I'm sitting in the library using the Wi-Fi because our internet was off, not working, disconnected. And so there I am at the library using the internet. And I turn my head to the side and what do I see? Red Rain. A book called Red Rain by R.L. Stine. R.L. Stine, the author of Goosebumps. And I actually got goosebumps when I saw it. I actually did get goosebumps as soon as I saw that because I was like, I only just wrote that 2 hours ago. I didn't know it was the name of a novel. I knew it was the name of a song because I've got the song. I had the song. I downloaded it off iTunes. I also owned it on CD. And it was like, is Lorenzo going to be category 5? Well, I don't know. You wouldn't think so because you'd think by the time we get to Lorenzo it'll be into October. But Matthew is October, so I guess you never know. But it does add up to 666 if you write 24 strokes of the rat and cane, category 5 Lorenzo. 24 strokes of the feed rat and cane, hurricane Lorenzo. See, if someone wanted to get caned and it was consensual and it wasn't going to leave scarring, they'd all be saying, oh, you're weird, man. But then in Singapore, they can take someone against their free will, tie them to a wooden trestle, and cane them so hard that they won't be able to function normally for the next month. It's cruel, it's barbaric. And it gives consensual activities a bad name and a bad vibe. Do you know what I mean? I mean, plenty of people are into all kinds of things. that are consensual. And it gives a bad name to all of it. When authorities, who are like psychopaths, are so brutal in the way they treat people, with no respect for free will. See, I do think something's going to happen. I said maybe an interval. Isn't that in there somewhere? There might be an interval of 5 days and 6 hours. I did say that somewhere. But where is a good question. Somewhere in the mix. I said maybe there'll be an interval of 5 days and 6 hours. The last interval of Steamboat Geyser was 149 hours. August 4 is tomorrow. August 4 is tomorrow. See, Cain is 23. I think that's why I said it. See, that was an interval too. 179 hours was an interval. And then 139 hours was an interval. So it seems to be commenting. Steamboat Geyser does seem to be commenting on something connected. In its own weird way. Synchronicity. I mean, don't ever talk about this stuff to psychiatrists, because they'll diagnose you with schizophrenia and they'll force you to take medication, perhaps. You know, we say we live in the free Western world. The West does business with Singapore like you would not believe. We don't care that some guys show us his butt. Singapore, show us this guy's butt. Show us what you did to his butt. And tell us you don't torture people. Try and tell us you don't torture people, because good luck being believed on that. You do torture people. It's a bit like if Hurricane Michael were to appear in court to defend himself and say, I wasn't that intense. You know, I didn't do that much. It'd be like that. You know, I could have been worse. I could have gone worse. Oh, really? Michael may have been Cat 5. Yet to be decided on post-event analysis. It's not what they call it, but that's what I'm saying. Post-event analysis. Well, you wouldn't want to do post-event analysis after the caning. 24 strokes. Nathan says get off the fucking mountain. What does that relate to? A twin. Papandayan is a volcano with twin peaks. It's in Indonesia. That's what I think this may connect to that. Among other things. Oh yeah. Here it is. See, Fate is 32 and Cain is 23. Life is 32. I am 23. Nathan would be 23. See, 5 days and 6 hours is 126 hours. It's the value of Mount Papandayan. Mount Papandayan last erupted in 2002, November, December 2002. So the reflective year is 2020, and 2020 is a leap year. 2019 is the same calendar year as 2002, so Friday, September 6th. Yes, September 6th is a Friday. This year, 2019. And that means we've got Friday the 13th of September. Friday the 13th. And now we know Gabriel is the G name. Friday, September 6th and Friday the 13th. We don't have long to go to see one of the 5 pentagram boys. Ivo is going to be the first one. Ivo is German. It means you. Y-E-W. Yiming Yuing. Yew. Yew is the yew tree. It's a conifer. It's the cemetery tree. I didn't make that connection until just now. They want to kill Satan, obviously. I guess I mean, Singapore has a mixed bag, you know, of religion. It's the most religious, diverse country. When it comes to religion, it's the most diverse country in the world. A third Buddhist, then comes Christianity, then comes Islam. There's quite a few non-believers, and then there's others as well. And then there's the government who canes people so hard that it's like, well, bizarre. Totally bizarre. Torture does not belong to any one religion or culture. The abuser can be anyone. It's a choice that people make. Do we abuse people or do we not? Do we abuse people or don't we? It's a choice that people make. My counsellor told me that, and he was right. It is a choice. You can either choose to do it or you can choose not to do it. And if you choose to do it, then you're going to obviously try and justify it. But how do you justify torture? It's a bit hard because there's no consent involved. It is literally like the priest catching the altar boy, doing something naughty, and then saying, oh, well, now I can torture you and abuse you. It is the same. Except when they're the government, they can do what they want. Except after Hitler went too far, they said, oh, well, now we need some rules that go international laws to prevent, you know, sovereign states torturing people. It's a threat to our sovereignty. That's what they say. It's a threat to our sovereignty if you oppose what we do. Because we're a sovereign state. We can do what we want. Well, actually, no, you can't. That's why international laws were brought in. To stop torture after World War II. To stop abuse of human rights. If you want to torture someone, torture yourself. Or find someone that's willing to be tortured. But don't enforce it on someone who's got no desire to be tortured. Okay? Because you give the rest of us a bad name.